Get me at BigBadToyStore, the link in the description. I said Shin. If you don't love me at my... You don't deserve me at my...
Kaiju, Dragon Ball, Pokemon, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews.
Hey there, collectors, it's going to be Steven here, and welcome back to another MonsterArts review. Sorry this one was a little bit delayed, messing around with my new camera phone, and I wanted to make sure that I was able to get things as right as I can, and I think I'm able to present this well enough. So here's a look at my review of the MonsterArts Cherry Bomb Shin Godzilla. What? That's not what it's called? What's it called? Oh, the Fourth Night Combat version. Proper title will be in the description and the title of this video. So we have a new translucent Shin Godzilla repaint that is meant to replicate when he goes on his attack at nighttime, pretty much right before he goes crazy in his awakening form. Shin Godzilla, unfortunately, has a solid track record of not having good figures, whether it's going to be statues, action figures from Tamashii Nations, or even other companies. So, with this being yet another Shin Godzilla release, just in time for the Shin Japan Animation Heroes, you know what I'm talking about, with Shin Kamen Rider, Ultraman, Evangelion, and now another release of Shin Godzilla. Is this going to be worth a purchase? Let's take a look to see whether or not it's going to be worth adding into your collection with all of the other Godzilla 2016 figures. Okay, so once again, let's go over the thing with the eyes, because this is going to be in the comment section. No, when you're designing something, it's not a matter of just throw paint at the wall and whatever sticks. It is intentionally designed chaos. You don't just throw something down and whatever happens, that's what you put out into the theaters. Shin Godzilla's eyes were designed to look a specific way. The way that he looks to the side and down, that was intended to be that way. It's aligned exactly that way on the CGI model. It's not just crazy and one eye is looking up into the side and the other is down into... That's not what it looks like to the source material. Doesn't matter how you argue it, but thankfully, for the most part for this figure, they got it pretty close. And all things considered, I'm going to... The teeth. He's wearing dentures. All right. I mean, it is what it is. Now, that being said, throughout the rest of the figure, I was actually rather impressed when I pulled this out of the box, as impressed as I can be for Shin Godzilla. And guess what? Just because I recorded a whole bunch of other audio, this is going to be the second time I'm going to say that in this review. Now, why is that, you may say? Well, Shin Godzilla is going to be cast in a translucent plastic, and I'm going to affectionately refer to this one as a dark cherry bomb Shin Godzilla, because I like it. So the dark red translucent plastic actually is in favor of this figure, because throughout the majority of the figure, it actually, when the light hits it just right, is able to have that red shine through and really do a solid job of emulating that red meatiness that Shin has in the movie. So that's really actually nice to see, and as you're going to see in a side-by-side comparison, actually does a better job than the painted one they released back in 2016, especially when we take a look at the dorsal plates. I think these dorsal plates capture Shin Godzilla amazingly well. Now, when we continue on down the tail, of course, there's going to be some variation for some thicker paint applications that are applied, which that's basically what this is going to be. Red translucent plastic, which is the cast, and then black paint, or a darker gray, not quite sure which, that's going to be over the figure, except for all the way up to the tail tip, which we do have the second face there, or the second head overall, depending on how you look at things, and all of the detail is effectively lost in just the chaotic red nature. But don't worry, if you do have the original release, then stick around towards the end. So overall, I do think that this is an upgrade compared to the original release, but we do unfortunately have some issues that are mainstays of the line, which are continued here. And real quick, just to put some emphasis on it, here is going to be a look at Shin Godzilla with the lights turned out, because it gets less dangerous. I referenced it once on the channel, so I mean, I don't know. I think I reached my life's goal. Anyway, translucent plastic, and if you do some light trickery, as you can see here, he does light up. Now, I will say that initially, my camera is just responding to the way that it is set up when I have my lights on, and then with a quick adjustment here, things are going to get blown out, but then it adjusts to somewhat lower light settings, so this way you can see what it looks like when Shin is sort of backlit, if you will. So if you do like to do photography trickery and so forth, this one will adapt well when it is lit up. So if you want to do any modifications or finger light or laser light tricks, then go ahead, plan away and have fun. All right, articulation. And unfortunately, we do have a little bit to talk about, including I took a little bit of time between recording the rest of this and here. Get to look at the mouth again. Anyway, okay, so the articulation for Shin. For Shinny Boy. Okay, so first and foremost, here is how everything should be naturally for you, okay? The head. As you can clearly see, we have a weird thing going on with the jaw. It's not weird per se. What it is it's a matter of the top part of the mouth is on one barbell style ball joint, so you can move Shin's mouth around like so, like the rest of the figures, as well as the bottom portion of the mouth, right? So you can do that. Okay. They don't necessarily move in unison. You can get them to move separately, and you can get some interesting combinations, including a very terrible overbite. Anyway, this portion of the neck is on a ball joint, so we can get him to move around there. As you can see, nice. And then this portion of the neck is on a ball joint as well, so we can get the neck to move around. Very cool. Shoulders, again, the natural fluid movement that this should have. This section is on a ball joint. It moves around, basically just kind of wiggles. It's supposed to spin and all that fun stuff, but then we get to the bicep, which is on a ball joint as well, and that moves around, right? As you can see, spins all the way around. Ball jointed elbows, that's what you want to call these little chicken arms, right? And then the wrists, they're on ball joints as well, so they spin. Okay. Torso articulation. So we have this section here, this sculpt is on a barbell style ball joint system that allows you to lurch Shin forward, so this way, yeah, baby. All right, cool. And we can rock from side to side just a little bit and twist and turn. And then this section here attaches into the bottom portion on a ball joint too, so we can get even greater movement. Nice. Cool. All right. Hips. Ball joint. Shin can kick out about that far. Kick forward and back about that far. We have knees that are going to be on ball joints, but effectively they move like hinges where they count. So that's cool. And as you can see here, the ankle joint, if you will, ball joints. Tail. So each section is basically a sleeve that houses a double axis or barbell style ball joint. And it goes all the way up to the tippy top here, which this is one solid piece. And there you go. So Shin can do some pretty neat movement with the articulation for the tail. Initially, the first production run of the original Shin, it was known to have rather loose joints that popped apart. If you go back to my 4K re-review of it, mine seemed to have shipped with broken joints, which was not cool. But this one seems to be more so in line with the Awakening version of Shin, wherein the joints are much more stable and they don't want to drop. So hopefully everything is intact. Now, the reason why I talked about as if this were all fluid, Shin has a quality control issue that seems to be rather production line wide. I don't know. Anyway, so the issue is that this guy's got tight joints, and I even had that issue as well. You can see in some of the pictures that I took that the poses are kind of a little bit stiff. Reason being is, well, this joint up here was rather stiff. This joint here is kind of stiff. This joint, stiff. This joint, stiff. This joint was stiff. This joint down here, stiff. And this joint system was all stiff. And as a matter of fact, I almost broke it for the sake of just showing you what it was like. But thankfully, I was able to perform some figure surgery and fix that. And even though it's just here, I went ahead and took some video for you to see what that looks like when it's spinning and a picture of what that system looks like. So here's what I'm going to say, folks. The general rule of thumb, if something feels like it's getting too tight and it's going to spin and it's going to break, then stop what you're doing. If you go to move a joint, let's go ahead and maybe jump back in here if it's needed. If you're going to move a joint like this, let's say, and it slowly turns back, if you're putting force to it and it doesn't want to move, stop what you're doing. You're just twisting the plastic and you may tear it. You don't want to do that. If you're going to move something and it feels like, oh, this is real tight, pump the brakes, pull back. Don't force it. You're going to break it. I actually saw someone spend $200 on importing one of these just to go ahead and shear the top portion of the head sculpt off. Don't do that. So if yours is tight, if it feels like it's going to break, should we have to fix those issues? Honestly, no. But it's better to take the extra time to fix it properly instead of wasting your money. Now, here's what you do. Heat it up. You can definitely disassemble it. I did it with ease, a little bit of silicone shock oil. You definitely want to try to get that, keep it on hand. I've got plenty of videos to help you out there. A dab will do you. You use heat to disassemble, then it's very easy to reassemble, and you're golden, pony boy. You are golden. And it's more than just me and more than one person who's had those issues. So, yeah. All right. That's that. Now let's go ahead and move on over to the next section. Articulation is all complete. So what about accessories? Well, this guy doesn't... Oh, oops. This guy doesn't come with anything. So he doesn't come with a beam. He doesn't... Which, I mean, you know, that's fine. But he doesn't come with a beam. He doesn't come with tanks. He doesn't come with buildings. Could be a good opportunity to add some trains in there. None of that. It would have been neat to have been able to sneak in a first form, which it would have just been the tail sticking out of water. But nope, none of that. We get nothing with this release, which, I mean, for pretty much everything except for the Awakening version of Shin, what accessories could you do except for like diorama display pieces? But even still, at this point, how many versions of Shin have we had that have not come with accessories except for the Awakening? Come on, we could have got something. Anyway, if you need effect parts, if you need support stands, if you need anything, I got plenty of videos to help you out to make suggestions. Now, with that being said, here's going to be a size comparison so you get a good idea of how Shin is. Honestly, at this point, I've covered this thing so many times. If you don't know how big Shin is from my videos, quite frankly, I really don't know what else to say or do for you. Yeah, I think he's good. Now, a side-by-side comparison with the original SH MonsterArts Shin Godzilla. And initially, I thought that one looked just a little bit better just based off of memory. But seeing them side by side, aside from the teeth paint, I like the Night Combats, the night version they got here. I think this one looks a lot better pretty much in all areas. And I actually kind of thought that the red poked through a little bit better on the original than it did here just by memory, but that is not the case seeing them side by side. And of course, because you're probably going to want to see it, here is going to be a look at this translucent Shin Godzilla alongside the Awakening, just so this way you can see how the translucent effect applies differently for purple or red. And of course, you're probably going to want to know, because of the tail tip not having any paint, can you swap it out with the original release Shin Godzilla? Yes, you can. So, buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. Folks, I don't know how many times I've done this take because I want to make sure that I am saying this correctly. So, for the teeth and the eyes, unfortunately, at this point, Is it intentional negligence? Is it just a matter of one slip past the goalie? I don't know. I think from here on out, I'm just not really going to make mention whether or not I'm upset, because you know how I feel. It's another release where this is an issue. We do have tight joints, which, yes, that is not good, and we really shouldn't have to fix that. However, these are fixable issues, and I do sort of see the silver lining here. You can fix them, and it's a good idea to practice figure surgery, as I like to call it. I think that the paint applications for this outside of what is going on the face are really nice, and this actually is an improvement over the original Shin Godzilla release, but take that for what it's worth. It's not hard to be better than that. Overall, I think there's a flow chart, which I kind of sort of came up with in my Discord, which invites are always open. So, do you have an SH MonsterArts Shin Godzilla? If the answer is no, then congratulations, this is the one to get. If the answer is yes, then are you pleased with the original one that you have? If you are, there really isn't that much of a reason to pick this one up. If you're not, then you should buy this. If you're a completionist, you should buy this. There you go. Hope that helped. Is this worth $150? I'll leave the value you get out of this back to you. What I'm going to say, though, is I like this, but I don't love it. I hope that helps. Hey collectors, that's going to wrap up the video today, and as always, thanks for watching, commenting, sharing, subbing, it all helps. I always enjoy responding to comments, so be sure to drop one down below and I will respond if I can. I do have supporters on Patreon as well, and each review gets an end card to show who is supporting each month, so here are the end cards. Camera batteries, SD cards, even hard drives. It's not possible without that support, so thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Here's the final end card, so this way you can click subscribe, check out another video, or even check out the social media outlets. You know you want to. Before we end today, as in the description, there may be paid ad space, affiliate links, or product samples that were sent out in this video, so please check out the STR ad disclosure. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.